to the MMA Roadshow, episode number 264 or something, because I've lost track of all time and weeks and days and that sort of thing. My name is John Morgan. Cold Coffee is with me, and here at the Casa de Cold Coffee, we've got a special guest with us. For the first time in a month, we're seeing other human beings. It is Oscar Willis of the Mac Life. What's going on, brother?
Man, like you said, I crawled out of the cave this morning. You know, the sunlight hurt for a little bit, but it is good to see some familiar faces, let me tell you.
I'm telling you, man. And I want to say, first off, social distancing is in effect. We're keeping some space from each other. There were no greetings, no fist bumps, no handshakes, nothing like that. Sanitizer was applied in all crevices as we entered the door.
With pleasure.
And thoroughly.
Yes, we made sure. So we're trying to
do. For a second. Gotta get that spot.
We're trying to do the right thing here and make sure we adhere to the guidelines. But listen, life is starting to move forward a little bit. Look, here in Las Vegas, it's kind of a momentous date, I guess, more or less. We've been locked down for a month at this point. So it's been a month for these stay-at-home orders. Started out as a stay-at-home suggestion, and I think like a day or two later, Sisolak, our governor, came out and said he got a little angry and said, okay, it's no longer a recommendation, it's a requirement. But I don't know, boys, how you holding up? I mean, I've talked to Cold Coffee. Let's talk to Oscar. How you holding up during all this, man?
Well, I think I've gone through all the stages of grief. You know, at first I was angry. I blamed China. Then I blamed the government here. I blamed everyone, and then I was sad. And then I've reached a point now where I think we're all at where it's like acceptance, but then the occasional like fucking get me out of here. So I'm not too bad. In all things considered, I'm okay.
You were just angry because your local bar got shut down.
Mate. Stop. I drive past and cry.
I'm telling you, it's funny. I think when you get Vegas is a weird spot, and for me, for the longest time when I first moved here, it took a while to find my groove, find your routine, find your clique, your spots. And when you do, you're very protective of them, and they become part of your life. So I get it. Like going to like your local watering hole.
Yeah.
For us, that I don't have kids at the house, so it's like I go to work, I go home, I see the girlfriend, whatever. But if there's a place that I can stop, that's like a friend gathering place. It's a huge part of your life. So when that's taken away or forced to, like, you feel like you're in trouble. You feel like your life literally is shut down. So I get it. Like when when you're stuck at home, and it's one thing to do with these Zoom meetings, these Teams meetings, and all that other stuff. Yes, it helps. So we're not just staring at a screen and hearing voices. You could actually see a person's face. But the fact of life being shut down, It is. It's like you go through the grief stages, because when you realize that you feel like you've lost a part of your personality, and then you find that you have to adjust, and you maybe hopefully find something that you used to be good at that you're like, whoa, I forgot that I was good at.
Well,
Xbox.
I think the thing is this, like, I do believe that this is going to have, everlasting implications, right? Like, it's not like one thing, like we're just going to go back to the way life was. I'm okay. And of course we a lot of us, we basically work from home anyway, unless we're traveling, but like the work changes and the workflows and all that, I'm fine with that, man. I'm okay with that. I mean, like, even if, for instance, like, we've all been doing fighter interviews over video and stuff, and dude, if that's the way we do things moving forward, like, even if they say, like, hey, you know what? Media days never exist anymore. We just can't have that many people in a room together in Ultimate Media Day, but we'll make these, banks of time available, and you'll get your video interviews and whatever. Like, honestly, I can live like that. I'm okay with it. All the work changes and the ways that we're figuring out how to do our jobs. Honestly, I have no issue with it, but it is weird, like, not being able to just go, like, say hello to people. Like I said, I go to Buffalo Wild Wings and sit down and talk to the other regulars and just shoot the shit with friends and I don't know, man, feel that connection. And the other thing is just, I don't know, man, to me, just like days and hours, like they just have lost meaning, man, and probably with no like events to look forward to. Like I just don't even know. I think that's the hardest part. Is it looks like now May 9th, and we'll get into that in a second, but until that was announced, like I just kind of lost meaning of days and hours.
Yeah, I think for people who aren't in this industry listening to this, they don't realize that actually our structure is built around the events. When you're at an event, it's like, okay, Wednesday is this, Thursday is this, Friday is this. When you're at home, is actually when you sort of get a little bit like, okay, so what the fuck do I do today?
That's right.
Yeah.
So
it's usually hard to turn off the work mind.
Yeah, of course.
Even when you're at home, you're like, all right, this is what needs to happen tomorrow. Do I need to prep for that tonight? This is what's going on. You know, you're either prepping for an interview or whatever. Your brain never shuts off. Now it's the part of trying to keep it engaged because it's tough.
And we should say, by the way, it's added for you this week because this is your first week of furlough. So you're not even having work to deal with this week.
Yeah.
I dealt with mine last week. Now this is your first time sitting at home, not being a part of the week. So that's probably added to it for you.
Yeah, it's made it a little weird. It's funny though. The first day I was like, oh, this week I'm gonna clean this room and I'm gonna clean the other studio. The first 2 days I played more Xbox than I played in like 5 years.
Dude, you want to hear?
I played all through the day Xbox. It was pretty fucking awesome.
You want to hear an act of self-control? You're talking about my local bar. I have a friend who works there, and like obviously while it's closed, he's in there doing repairs and stuff like that. And he said, I've got the key. Like, I do work at midnight. You can just come in here and bring your own booze and have a few drinks in the bar. And I was like, fuck. But I can't, it's too irresponsible of me. But eventually, I think, possibly over the next week or so, I might succumb to that temptation. I can't help.
I tell you what, I did. So I mentioned I was on furlough last week. I did this week, today and yesterday, because it came in two parts. I got my first unemployment check, and not a check actually here in Nevada. They give you a debit card, they mail you a debit card, and they load money on the debit card. And the first day, I got a couple $100, $400 is what you get here, and then they loaded the $600 extra for the stimulus, or not the stimulus, but the CARES Act the next day. But I just want to say, like, honestly, that has changed my attitude tremendously, man. Like, because losing 50% of my income this month, which is what we're having to do at all across Gannett, scared the shit out of me, man. I'm not gonna lie. And
sure.
getting so
how's the arm?
Still not good yet, man. I still can't donate plasma yet.
It's weird. It's not. It's taking a different shape. It looks like a. Is that a wine bottle or something? Or
I mean, listen. This is my art. That's what we do. But no, So for you,
what the fuck happened to him?
I donated plasma one time because like they pay you like $80 a time. And you can do it like you make $600 over the course of like 8 visits or whatever. But the very first one I got, the needle moved, and so it pooled blood underneath and it's been like this for like 12 days now.
For the listener, it's dark, but you can donate other stuff from your body if you have to.
See, I don't feel good about donating that. Like nobody needs that. Nobody needs that in their life. You know what I mean? But no, I was just
That's
gonna say
my
like
private time. I don't want to make that work.
No. I have no problem offering donations. I would just feel some responsibility for like whatever those offspring became. But no, I would say getting a little bit of money from the government, and I haven't gotten my stimulus check yet, but getting that little bit of money from the government, not that, oh, great, all our problems are solved, but I will say it changed my attitude a little bit because I had been pretty scared. I got a wife and kid to support, you know what I mean? So getting that little bit of money, I don't know, made me feel – I feel a lot less stressed today than I have been feeling in the last couple of weeks.
It gives you more breathing room. I mean, the Orange Man is on television right now, and a lot of people, it's one of those things that – you can hate the administration.
How are we not watching this? I mean, the type of knowledge that he delivers to us on a daily basis, how irresponsible are we?
And that's the thing, when you're in need and when you're hurting, you will certainly be happier and turn a blind eye to the way things are going when you're able to eat and breathe a little bit. And these stimulus packages have definitely helped people forget about politics and whatever and get back to a little normalcy.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's crazy. It's a crazy thing because I mean, even when you're hurting for money and when you're hurting for other things, all the silly things in life go away and life becomes very, very hard and rough and stuff. And so I'm glad that we all got a little bit of breathing room.
It was all I could think about. Like all day, every day. I'm like, okay, what can I move around? What can I do?
I mean, you went and gave plasma literally like the day after you found out. I was like, he ain't wasted any damn time.
Beer money is sacred, bro. You gotta do what you gotta do.
I got hit. I wish I could pull up his name. I got hit up with this guy on Twitter. Let me see if I can find his name real quick.
Get an OnlyFans account.
I was so surprised. He was like, we literally like the day of. I remember we had the meetings and our company told us that the furloughs were coming or whatever. And I remember it was so funny because like the next day John's like, yeah, I donated plasma. And I remember thinking, I was like, we just found out. How can he already be here? And I was like, he's planning ahead.
I'm getting ahead. I'm like, yeah, Bobby Holmes, by the way. Bobby Holmes hits me up with a direct message on Twitter. And he said, by the way, he's like, just so you know, because they pay more money up front, and then like after your first month they pay less. So he was like, just be aware of that. And fortunately, I did know that. Like I wasn't like, oh, I can do this forever. Like no, I was like, no, I'll make this money in this time that I'm losing, half my income or whatever. But so he said that, which was nice. But then this is where the real valuable advice came. He said, if you're using plasma money for beers, make sure you have some ready when you get home. They hit harder because you're depleted, so you get like twice the value out of your beers. I'm like, bro, that is some expert advice right there, man.
It's like PBRs would be like imports.
Yeah, man.
That's the guy's B&B'd before, blood and beer.
Yeah, I was like, dude, like you're the real hero, man. You're the real MVP. So anyway, so I don't know, man. I feel like things, even though we're still very much in the middle of this stuff. I feel like a load is off my shoulders. You got your stimulus money already. Well, I just found out that you're not even eligible for the stimulus money, which is probably for the best.
Yeah,
you just would have spent it on like a TV or something.
Yeah, I don't need extra spending money, guys. It's fine.
But it would be nice to have that padding in the bank account. It is nice. I mean, it feels good knowing that even though losing half of the pay this month, it was like, okay, we'll be all right without it. It'll be a struggle, but we'll be okay. But to know that there won't be that struggle, now it's just a matter of, okay, let's just get through it. Let's get into May. Let's get these events happening. Let's get this going. And I don't know what communities you guys are in, but here in Las Vegas, it's been in the news lately. Our governor is on one side of the fence. Let the doctors decide when we're going to go. But right now, our mayor Goodman, she's like, this is stupid. We need to start opening up businesses. So already here, there's already a battle. And we're seeing this battle happen all over the place of people on one side saying, okay, we need to get the economy started. We need to get going. So I was thinking about your friend's business. That might even be the kind of thing. Well, yes, I think it'd be really wrong to open up a casino.
That's what I'm saying. There's a compromise, right?
If
you open up the strip, no one's going to show up anyway for a long time.
Right.
So there's no point in opening up the strip. It's a bad idea. But for me, I think local businesses, it might start making sense to start looking at those now,
Right.
Or even you could open up, let's say, a local bar, for instance, because that's the thing that matters most. You could say, open up a local bar and then maybe say, but you can only have 20 people in there at one time. Or
right.
There's ways to work
that
around
maybe
it.
Want to play on a game, because I know a lot of the gambling people, a lot of businesses, gambling is what kept them afloat. I say if I was a gambler and I wanted to go into a place and they said, okay, here's the rules. Normally I know you guys want to float around machine. Here's the deal. You pick a machine, you play that machine gets wiped down. Before you go to any of the machine, you have to make sure it's socially distanced from another person. Yeah. You have to wipe down that machine, and then you stay at these machines. And then, like you said, a limited amount of people. I could see where that would work.
Every other machine is on, not every machine. And
I mean, for example, there are still, so I think airlines are still running some flights. And I got an email the other day from some fucking airline where they're like, oh, just to let you know, we're not selling middle seats anymore, so you guys are socially distant.
Yeah, I love it. There's such high demand right now. But that makes sense, right? Hold the middle seat.
But so if you can do that, you can make, I believe, and this is part of a larger conversation about the UFC and if they can do events. I believe there are ways to do things safely. Right. It might be a bit shit and it might be a bit sort of diluted, but there are ways you can do it.
Yeah, I mean, look, I hate to get too much into that because I've been on, man, I feel like I've had this conversation multiple times. I mean, I did a lot of media last week, which is fun, man. I did Submission Radio a couple times. I did Ant Walker's podcast, which I like Ant a lot, man. Yes, he's a good dude on the come up, man. Did a conversation with Kevin Ioli, which was fun. But that's been my position all along is that, dude, I think there's a way to do this, and it's just a matter of figuring it out. So let's just get into that. UFC. All right, is it 249 or 250? What are we going with? It's May 9th, which was the original date of 250. Here's what I think. I've got to think that, and I've asked the UFC about this yet and what they're calling it, and they said, look, we're still trying to figure everything out. Like, give us a little bit. I've got to think that Dana especially wants to call it 249, so he doesn't have to say canceled an event, right? Like, he's going to want to call it 249. For me,
because once you skip it, I mean, when you can't work it back in.
No, exactly.
You can never work it back
in.
Where's 151?
Yeah, where's 151 exactly? 176. I mean, for me, it's. I think it should be 250 though.
For I'm not sure about the name. For whatever reason, in my head, I just have it as UFC May 9. I don't know why. I just kind of have it as the date.
It is true.
All
right, so let's talk about the May 9th date. More aggressive. It's funny. I did. Speaking of all the media, I did a conversation with the Junkie Radio guys, and my guess originally was June 6th was what I thought. And my thinking of June 6th was there doesn't seem to be a commission meeting this month here in Nevada in April. They don't have one on the calendar yet. But if they scheduled one in May, now granted, they would be working behind the scenes already. They would know when they were going to that meeting what was going to happen. But at least May, let's say it's the first week of May, then they could promote an event on June 6th. That may still be the case. June 6th may still be the case for the first event here in Nevada. We don't know that yet. But I don't know. Let me ask you guys what you think about it. I mean, are you comfortable with that date? And take a guess, where do you think it's going to be? Because I still think, the Apex is coming for sure. We're going to be doing events, and we've been saying it all along. We're going to be doing events at the Apex all year this year, no question about it. But what about this May 9th? All right, first, are you comfortable with it? And second, where do you think it's going to be?
I am comfortable with it. And let me tell you, before we started recording, John made a point where he was like, there's been no backlash to this date for the most part. Everyone's basically been like, I guess it's May 9th. And if we look at the science and stuff, the peak was supposedly these last 2 weeks, right? And I think that was a lot of people's objection to, hold an event, but not during the bit where it's the worst bit.
Right.
So for me, if we're over the peak, and as long as everyone still remains sensible, I have no problem with May 9th. And I've also come to the, perhaps out of boredom, perhaps not, but the increasing idea that there is a way to do an event safely. It might not look like any other event we've done,
Correct.
and it might be very sort of compromised in terms of what we can do as our job.
Absolutely.
But I do believe there is a way. It's become clear to me that the UFC are prepared to spend extra money to get this to happen, and it's in their interest to do so. That's not just out of charity. They'll make money back, trust me. But I'm comfortable with May 9th, and where is it going to happen? I think, once again, the shining example of what you can be if you're a true American, state of Florida.
State of Florida.
is coming to the forefront. Obviously,
Get her done.
Get her done. I think everyone probably who's listening to this has heard that the WWE, they've sort of, it's been signed that they're an essential business. Although I have to say they're an essential business who just let go a lot of staff, which is kind of crazy.
That is crazy,
So
man.
imagine
That simultaneously they get approved to continue operations and lay people off.
And so imagine being told you're essential staff, but you're not essential to
They were
this
furloughed,
company,
right?
No, it's sacked. They got let go.
I thought it was furloughed.
A bunch got furloughed, but a lot got let go full time, for good. Which is kind of crazy. Even Kurt Angle's UFC.
Yeah,
fucking
I mean, it's tough. We see the same thing. I mean, they have a bigger staff than what the UFC even has.
They employ near 1,000 people. It's 900 and some people, which I would, to be honest, I don't follow wrestling. I don't get. Somebody hit me up on Twitter because when I saw that, I actually tweeted I am shocked to know that it's that big.
Number.
And they did say what I didn't realize is I guess they do all their production in house. So instead of having a Concom, a third party, it's all under. And I guess they also they do so many frequent dates that you can't just have a crew. You have to have multiple crews that are traveling and setting up. So it's not like
Speaking of Concom, well done on that story.
Oh, did you?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I did.
that
Actually, I had UFC staffer reach out to me and be like, "Oh, so who's your source for the Concom?" I was like, "I have no idea."
Yeah,
I really don't know, but I just thought it was funny that a UFC
they came hunting with the knives out already.
For anybody that doesn't know, I did a piece on MMA Junkie if you want to read about it, and it was interesting because I was talking to some freelance workers basically, which they do have full-time production people, but the freelance people were like, "Listen, we got paid for 2.5 days for London, even though we didn't go. We were supposed to be paid for 6." And that's it. And we haven't heard what we're going to get paid, when we're going to get paid, how we're going to get paid. And the other thing that they said, and this one of the reasons, and I'd been talking to them for a couple weeks, but I wanted to give the UFC time to respond. I tried to reach out to Concom. And one of the things, too, was this was so fluid. I think it would be irresponsible to just go after the UFC right away or go after Concom right away and be like, when are these people getting paid? Dude, we're all trying to figure out what the world's happening right now. Yeah. But I think we've gotten to that point now where it needs to be figured out. But one of their biggest things, because, the UFC has said, look, we're going to do all of our events. And so I talked to this person at one of the freelancers, and I was like, dude, they said they're going to do all the events. They're like, yes, but consider this. Now it looks like they're going to be doing multiple events per week, which means we just lost money. You know what I mean? We're our money, we're not going to get to work that full week, or we're going to get doubled up or whatever. So it's a
boo-hoo.
I know we are.
These guys. Well, I mean, I've done freelance stuff, and I understand the position that they're in because they're lucky enough that they're in a lucky position where they can sort of plan on this money, and they've been spoiled as freelancers, as independent contractors.
Hold on, you came out congratulate. You were like, hey, well done on the article, man.
No, I mean,
thanks for speaking up for the small person.
It is good, but
then you're like, hey,
corporate Kenny over here.
No, but let me finish. As a freelancer, I've been in towns where it was one production company that did it. And when you got in and you got every call to work all the events, and it was great, good for you. But then the fact that they were like, oh, we turned down other gigs. There are no other fucking gigs. These other gigs that they're trying to say that they turned down.
Well. I've heard
it's pretty ridiculous. I mean, these guys have been so lucky to get this, a lot of these gigs, that it's very, very cushy. So good for them. But I understand their frustration because
John, I hope your sources don't listen to this.
I know,
show.
no, I mean they'll be honest enough to say it as well. I mean, they've been lucky and to have this like set thing over and over without actually having to be like a freelance. In a sense, they're not freelancers because work's been laid out for the full year.
We're not quarantining this podcast, by the way. This is going.
This is shit. The same thing you say in the fight. This is the same fucking shit I would say in front of their face. Like they've been lucky enough to have a gig that's paid for them over and over again. So even though they're freelancers,
why is it every time I'm here you go off the rails? Last time it was about eating Brazilians out.
Off the rail. Like this is nothing. It's not like I'm bashing other racial groups. That's later on in the episode.
Stay tuned.
I'm just saying, like
I get it.
I get it. I get what they're trying to say, but also these are guys that have gigs all throughout the year because they're been assigned like UFC gigs for ConCom, and so for the fact that the money has ran dry for a little bit. Now it's back to being a real freelancer and having to find work.
Well, we're in the middle of a furlough ourselves, right? So I mean,
yeah. So I get it, but I mean, for them to try to say, "Oh, I turned down other gigs," you wouldn't have turned down another gig if you knew a UFC, and more than likely, most of them don't have any other time to work any other gigs because they've only do the UFC thing. So I sense a little bit of maybe quasi BS in this turn down other stuff. But I get it. But you're a freelancer. The production company, the UFC, which hires ConCom, is not going to give ConCom money to pay their freelancers for possible thing. That's ConCom. Go at ConCom. Don't expect, like, if I work for.
So you like John's story, yeah?
What? I mean, it was glad that it came out. Whatever, that's good. You're bringing the light to it. But I also, understand.
I did try to make
there's
sure
a lot of other freelancers out there that aren't getting work that don't have guaranteed work. 50 weeks, 52 weeks out of the year, like most of these guys do. They're actually out there hustling and maybe are lucky to get, one gig, a couple good gigs in a month.
Yeah.
These guys are getting lots of really good gigs. It was a matter of time.
I did try to make it seem, too, that it wasn't all going at the UFC. I mean, the UFC
but it seemed
hires ConCom.
but it seemed like they wanted UFC to pay. It wasn't like they were like, ConCom pay us. They're like, UFC, we've been loyal to you. We give you our best.
I definitely think if you have a job, like you were saying, and you get such a regular gig, like 50 weeks a year the UFC basically runs, that becomes your standard. And then when something happens that makes your standard no longer happen, you feel like you've lost something when actually you probably weren't entitled to that level of standard in the first place, right?
It's been so routine for them that they just expect it to be there. And it's the kind of thing that it could, at any point, at any time, they could have cut ConCom off.
But I guess that's when
and
it
it's
goes
not like they had to pay ConCom to do this.
I guess that goes to the point, too, and it's a much larger discussion than MMA, but of just the point or the current structure of employment around the world, right? I mean, think about like same thing. Like we have guys on our staff that are technically freelancers, right?
Right.
But we pay them every week, every month, and it's not like there's a discussion about it's like you're treating them pretty much like employees,
right?
But they're not employees.
Well,
you know what I mean? That's
UFCs are independent contractors and so on. So it's all part of it.
It's such an interesting discussion.
Yeah.
Well, listen, in a seamless transition back to UFC 250 and UFC 249. I don't know. So what do you got? Because I think I'm with you guys. I mean, I'm guessing Florida. And let me be clear, just like before. No one is talking about this. This is airtight. Nobody will talk about it.
Can you blame them now? The location came out in a day before, and then a day after Disney came in, or fucking California came in and shut it down.
But here's the one thing that I have been saying as well in some of the interviews and stuff that I've been doing with other outlets this week is the one, and I understand why Dana and the UFC were so secretive about it. But I think that was the one thing they did that backfired on them. I think that made more people want to come at them. Whereas I feel like, and I hope that they learn from that. I hope that they recognize that if they were almost overly transparent, you know what I mean? Like, here's where we're going. Here's why we feel safe going there. Here's the steps that we're taking.
Yeah.
But I think if they did that, it would answer the question. So, I think that's one mistake. And I understand why Dana did it, man. I understand. I haven't spoken to him about this directly, but my guess, he's like, listen, shut up. Everybody go away. I'm going to get one of these in the books. I'm going to show you that I know how to do it. I'm going to show you that everybody's safe. And once I do it, you can all step back and go, I guess they know what they're doing. And I understand that. I understand he probably thought maybe I can shield myself from some of the scrutiny. I'll prove to you guys I can do it. Because we've talked to people behind the scenes, but sure we all have. They're trying to do it safely. They're taking all the steps to do it safely. But I think, honestly, I do think that was a strategic mistake, and I think it ended up backfiring. And I hope that between now and May 9th, while, as you said, Oscar, I do feel like there's a lot less pushback right now on May 9th than there was on April 18th. But I do feel like whatever pushback they get, instead of the circle the wagons and just stay away, I hope they're like, no, hey, what questions you got? We're going to tell you.
Well, for example, when Brett Okamoto of ESPN asked, like, are you going to test the fighters before they come in? Dana would give the answer of, like, listen, we care about health and safety more than anyone. Don't worry about that. It's like, well, if you'd have said, yes, we are, that's that issue gone, and don't worry about it,
And then test everybody that goes. Every media member should be tested.
Sure.
Every staffer, everybody should be willing.
Oh, that
but
test.
People, I know.
Yeah, I know. Well, I have to say,
if you get the new test, if you get the new test,
is there a new test?
Supposedly the quicker test don't have to do the nasal swab
talked
all
to
the way
my mom.
to the back.
I talked to my mom while I was driving
so.
over here. My mom got it. She's in her.
Your mom got your test.
She got the test. She's in her 70s, and she's actually been having like a dry cough that's been lasting for like a month. I'm like, can you go find a way to get tested? So because she's in her 70s, because she's had a cough,
stop going outside.
She is. She's doing things, but she went and got tested, and she got her results back, and she's negative. So that's great. But yeah, so I was like, I've seen that video. Did you get that thing like shoved up your nose? And she's like, yeah, it's like what did she call it? It's like a strong tickle. I'm like, a strong tickle.
That isn't how everybody else has been describing it.
God.
Well, listen, last
time I
wasn't
quite sure. I thought the new test was
facial catheter or something.
Yeah.
Dude, terrible.
I was about to say, last time I went to a doctor and got something shoved up a small hole, it hurt a lot more than that. Let me tell you.
the chlamydia test or something?
A man recognizes his own kind.
Man, how bad we need human interaction.
I know. But, yeah, I mean, as for even Florida, even if it is Florida, I mean, it's funny. I have family down in Florida, but I have no desire to go anywhere else besides the Apex at this point. If it's anywhere but the Apex right now,
so you're sending me solo?
I don't want to go.
I'm going solo if it's
really?
If it's
you wouldn't
Florida?
go?
It depends. I have
California?
I have no desire. California's different. I have no desire to board a plane for 5 hours to go anywhere.
See, I feel like no one's boarding planes.
Right.
So actually, planes aren't that bad.
I think they're like 10% full right now.
Everyone's saying, like, you're going on a plane. I'm like, yeah, if I was going on a plane to, like, fucking, I don't know, somewhere in Eastern Asia and the plane's got 600 people on it, I'd probably feel a little bit awkward.
Yeah.
But especially a middle seat to, like, the Philippines.
Yeah, but it's just like, at the moment, because even before this got really, really bad, the planes were pretty empty.
Yeah.
And I just don't. I think like from now, like a flight from Vegas to, I don't know, Orlando.
Yeah.
I can't imagine there's going to be more than 20 people on it.
I was gonna say you're gonna have a row to yourself. I mean, I agree with you. Like if they said, listen, do you want to go to Orlando? And oh, by the way,
they still might not even allow massive amounts. They might only say one person an outlet.
Absolutely. Well, that's
true. That's a good point.
That's a fair point too. They will definitely limit the number of media. It's not going to be open.
It's not going to be like full whatever. I don't imagine. At least not for the first one. I think they're still probably going to kid gloves and probably be like, all right, we're trying to do this as safely and as less effect as possible. So I still don't think they'll open it up to full media like they normally do, even if they do. And I think that same thing is going to carry over to when it is at the Apex as well. I mean, they're going to try to limit as much until there's overall government support and the sort of, okay, we're on the other side of this. I don't see them going back to full swing.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be limited engagements up until that point.
I think until more states are open than they are closed.
Right. I mean, until you have... when you stop seeing governors fighting with mayors on TV and governors calling and talking to organizations of corporations, I doubt we're going to see business as normal, but they'll probably get it to the point. Because I think right now when you're seeing the active backlash against the governor saying we need to get back open, I think most of the governors are going to probably want to start saying, okay, how can we do this safely? We need to start moving that way. Whereas I think when Dane and them tried to do that first event, we're still thick in the middle where most people are like, shell shocked. Everything's saying stay indoors, stay indoors. The numbers are going to get bigger and bigger and bigger. Now, if it feels like we're starting to get to where we're nearing the plateau, hopefully, maybe they'll be more open to that, to where they'll say, okay, maybe with some limited sort of engagement. But I can see where May 9th will happen. It'd be great if it happens in the Apex. I'd be more than happy to do something like that. But as for still just hopping on a plane, whatever. But I'm also coming from a point where I just had major surgery recently, so I'm not really trying to throw myself back into the mix of stuff.
Yeah.
If I had to, of course, I'll go wherever with, I over sanitize anything right now. But I would, if it was at the Apex, no brainer. Let's do this. Anywhere else, I'm like,
I think if it was within 6 hours, I would drive instead of fly.
Of course,
I would probably drive it.
If it's
to
California,
it.
you should do it.
I would drive it.
Like Tattoo was like 5.5 hours.
Yeah, I was planning on driving that really, mostly because I couldn't get a rental car. But I would drive to there. But if it was somewhere in Florida, I probably would just.
Are rental car places closed?
No, it was. I lost my driver's license when I was.
That's another story.
You get replacements, so you just misplaced
yeah, but
it?
I got the replacement into the UK, so it's over there. So I was like, fuck, I can't get it over here in time.
Oh, that's funny. All right, well,
So
listen.
you just misplaced it.
Yeah, I lose it every fucking 2
Oh,
weeks.
I thought. I was playing a joke. Like I thought he totally lost. He wasn't allowed to have
I
one.
I was like,
No, I lose my
when's your
wallet.
court
I
date?
lose
Do you
my
need a
wallet
character?
every
Do you
2
need
weeks.
Do you need a character reference?
Oh, that's too funny. All right, listen. We're gonna have plenty of time to talk about that card. We know what the card looks like, or what theoretically it's gonna look like. By the way, it was pretty funny because when Dana announced the card to ESPN to Brett Okamoto, basically immediately we started calling managers and calling fighters, and they had nobody had really agreed to anything yet at that point. Like they basically announced the full card without anybody agreeing to it. But I mean, everybody was in pretty quickly. Like they were like, let's just get this out there, and then we'll do it all behind the scenes. But it was kind of funny how the timing worked on that. But all right, so Cole Coffey's been on furlough all this week, so I've been producing videos and doing helping out with that sort of stuff behind the scenes all week. So I haven't done a lot of interviews, but I thought this would be a unique opportunity to bring people little snippets of the rest of our staff. Not full interviews, but you know what? We got a good team. Let's show off the team to everybody. Let's show what's going on behind
the good
scenes.
work.
That's what's up. So
Spreading the good work and letting us do less work.
I can't say that was the motivation, but maybe. But maybe. All right, listen. All right, so we'll start out. This is Ioane and Jacek. This was from earlier today, actually. Danny Segura out there in New York, which, by the way, shout out to Danny, man. He's in New York, so he's dealing with the
ground
middle
zero.
of it, man. Ground zero, man. And he's actually picking up a dog this week because he has a roommate, but I guess he said his roommate stays with his girlfriend a lot, so he's basically in.
I thought you meant his roommate stays with Danny's girlfriend a lot. I was like, what the fuck?
No, his roommate. So
Terrible girlfriend.
So basically, Danny said he ends up in his Brooklyn apartment quite often alone. So he's looking for some companionship. So he's adopting a dog, by the way. He's rescuing a dog. So
I've seen places that have worked that out where they even do the sort of by appointment so they can limit the amount of people that go look at the dogs.
So
he's
we were talking today. He's got an appointment on Saturday to go pick up this dog. So
they say watch that though. You can actually transfer it to your dog. Your pets
Jesus,
can become carriers.
Can you be positive?
I'm just spreading knowledge.
That is so awesome. Like just like your story was amazing. That's so great. That he's getting a dog.
Danny, that's so awesome.
He
But
can
don't
also-
let the dog give you corona.
All right. Well, listen. I'm gonna play you a brief little clip of the interview today.
Animals are dangerous.
Don't trust your loved ones.
All right. This is Danny Segura and Ioane and Jacek. Here's a portion of their conversation from earlier today.
How are you feeling? And first of all, were you surprised you've been healing this quick? Because I mean, just a couple of days after you still looked. That was bruising, but you still looked so much better than fight night.
Yeah, of course. Every day was better, but actually the third and the fifth day were the worst. But there's black spots under my eyes, and I used to get black spots when I was tired, when I was overtrained. But these black spots I have every day, and I think I will have to go through some small medical procedure because I spoke to some doctor, and sometimes you can get dark spots after big bruises, and my face was bruised, my forehead, But all the people were like, "Show us your forehead, show us your forehead." Guys, the next day, my forehead was good. Everything went down, so I couldn't see for like 2 days on my right eye,
Wow.
and I could see only 5% on my left eye for 2 days. So my people need to take care of me. But the bruise went down, and it was on my chest, and even like 3 days ago, I still could like feel like some pain, because the bruise went down, and my
Yeah.
my face, my neck, and my chest was black, but all good, man. That's the price. I went through the war. I gave my best to the people, and I paid the price, but it's part of my job.
All right, so that was Joanna and Jacek. We did that as everybody's doing, on these video conversations. The extended conversation of that is on YouTube, so if you want to see, I think it's about 20 minutes or so. You can see the full conversation. By the way, amazing, and obviously you guys haven't had a chance to see it yet, but she still has some blackness under her eyes.
Still.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So to hear how long it's taking her to heal, and to hear how how that recovery process is going, man, it's just. Just crazy. I will say a little behind the scenes nugget. This is great. So this software that we use, we're not using Zoom. We're using this other third-party software, and it's really easy for people to utilize. But when you log into it, you don't have to log in anything, but it does ask you to put a screen name. The screen name doesn't show up anywhere, so nobody would ever see it. But people don't know that when they sign in. But she signed up for her screen name. She put Queen. And so she joined into the studio. I started cracking up right away. I was like, of course you put Queen. But listen, man, she says she wants the rematch. She wants the Wiley Zhang rematch, and
What a fight.
and what if I
Unreal, huh?
and she ended up revealing that she's already texted Dana and says, I want to fight. Like, even though she's still healing up, she's already texted Dana. And I talked to her after actually the interview was over. I was like, so what did Dana say when you hit him up? I was like, totally off record, which now I'm totally telling everybody. But he's just like, you're a fucking gangster.
Do you
And I'm
know-
like, you are a fucking gangster.
She is a gangster.
You know how it's like some fights happen, and at the time it feels really close, and then the further away you get from them, it's like the public memory of that fight sort of becomes a bit murky. So it's like GSP versus Hendricks was actually like a bit close, but in the public eye, it's like, oh, that was a robbery and stuff. I haven't spoken to one person who is yet to say like that fight was the closest shit I've ever seen.
Dude,
Like
that's amazing.
that fight is the closest fight I think I've ever seen.
Phenomenal fight, man, and she wants to do it again. Like, I love it, and she wants to get paid for it. And you know what, man? She put her body on the line. She deserves
Did you agree
to
the
get paid
fight
for
went
it.
the right way? The decision?
Mate, flip a coin.
Yeah.
A coin.
I didn't think it was a coin. I mean, I knew it was close.
I
but
actually,
I felt that Zhang did enough.
see, I thought Joanna. When I was watching it, I was like, I think Joanna probably did enough. But I think it was such a the problem with a fight like that to score. And I know this isn't the way you're meant to score a fight, but it had such big swings in momentum. So
Yeah.
if for 1 minute you thought like, oh, Joanna's actually pulling away, and then in the last minute of the round, Zhang would come on her, and
Yeah.
you just didn't.
Yeah.
It was a really like.
It was
a
a
great
wonderful
man.
fight.
Do you think?
Wonderful fight.
It goes without
I
saying.
wonder if
It was so much more
weeks-
exciting than the last.
Yeah, no. But just it is crazy, man. How much our world has changed in that time since
Isn't
that
it
fight,
just?
man.
Well,
Yeah.
also, I do wonder though. Not that this matters what we're talking about today. I wonder if Joanna's face didn't swell that bad, if it would have been a different way to score it. Not like in terms of what happened.
Oh, I agree.
But
Like, 'cause you got to think the damage. I mean, even if it's subconscious to the judges, man, it has to weigh. And she did, by the way, in the extended conversation, she did say, by the way, that look, A, it hurt really bad, and B, it was distracting. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I could feel it, and because of it,
Yeah.
it was like it was breaking her concentration.
Sure.
Not that she was trying to make excuses or anything,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
just saying, like, look, it definitely impacted like my mindset.
It would had to have, unless she literally was a cyborg. That would have any person would have been just completely.
She also,
How could you not focus on that? I mean,
Also not a
she
bad
probably
target
saw
either.
it out. Yeah.
and she said that was freaking her out. That like because if it cuts and then blood's, she's like
Yeah.
that's it. She's like if that cuts, like blood's going everywhere.
Yeah.
She's like,
To be honest, I actually, I mean, everyone knows that those two women are just warriors, and everyone knew Joanna was a warrior anyway. But I have to say, when you saw her, you look at yourself on the big screen in the corner in the end of the fourth round, and you see yourself swelling up. how do you go out there and then take punches to the same spot that you're so conscious of growing without thinking like, oh, am I going to die? You know, like
nuts, man.
Fuck.
So, listen, Danny. Actually, today he actually had about a 40-minute conversation with Vitor Belfort as well, so that'll be up. He talked to Jairzinho earlier this week. He's got Ricardo Lamas on Friday. Yeah.
How many times did he advocate for TRT in 40 minutes?
You can talk about a lot of things in 40 minutes.
Look, Vitor likes to talk. He gets going, man. But I'm not gonna lie. Every time I talk to Vitor, I get inspired, man. That dude, he's like he's a motivator, man. He gets you going.
Intimidating enough.
Maybe try to motivate media to attack you in Brazil.
That's water under the bridge. Water under the bridge.
Do you remember the first time I ever did? I said to Vitor, I was like, "Now you're going to one. Are you going to take TRT again or something like that?" And then he was like, "How old are you? You should take TRT." I was like, "Oh shit!" Next to John. Do
you have some extra? Let's try it.
Hopefully, I'll be talking to Vitor soon as well, man. He's a good dude. I enjoy.
Yeah, he's a good dude.
Big conversation. All right, listen. I want to set up another one here. Nolan King. He's on my furlough team. We
Team B.
The varsity team. You guys are clearly
squad.
JV squad.
He's the JV squad.
Nolan's on my crew, so he was on furlough with me last week. What we did, for anybody that doesn't know, we split the team basically in half, and then we're alternating weeks.
The good half and the bad half.
We'll let you guys determine where those fall. But Nolan's been hustling this week, and he had a chance to speak to Corey Sandhagen, who Corey Sandhagen is in an interesting position because, and I do want to talk about this, is very impacted by UFC 249/UFC 250, that bantamweight division. Triple C is making his return, and here's a couple of minutes of this. Again, didn't not the full interview. I want to save that for these guys, for the website, for YouTube, and plus I don't want to steal all their work.
You don't want to showcase? You don't want to showcase all.
Sorry, I don't want to showcase
sampling. Sampling.
Well, I helped produce it. If I help produce it, that means I have some rights to it, right?
Of course.
Kenny
kind of
of course.
Guys, if you could please not sue us, that would be great. Like I'm already making half my income this week. I'm collecting unemployment. If you could not sue me, guys, I would certainly.
I'm on further. I'm not even here.
All right, here is Nolan King talking to Corey Sandhagen.
Dana White announced officially that, somewhat officially, that Dominic Cruz is in the works to get the next title shot against Henry Cejudo. So I guess just give me your immediate reaction there. I think a lot of people had you as somebody they thought would be penciled in for that title shot if Aldo wasn't ready, or Aljamain Sterling, in terms of the fighters in the U.S. that could take that fight. So I guess just kind of give me your reaction there on the Cruz fight.
Yeah, I see things pretty logistically. From the standpoint of I like MMA, and I got into MMA for the purpose of fighting the best guys, and was under the assumption that that's what the organization was doing too. I don't think these guys are bad fighters by any means. Obviously, I don't think Cruz is a bad fighter, Cejudo is a bad fighter, any of these guys are bad fighters. What I will say, though, is I think that on paper, I have the best argument for the next title shot. I know that I'm not as popular as a lot of the guys. My name doesn't get thrown around as much, but if we're talking just numbers, I mean, I beat a Sun Sal last, who is ranked number 3, and the only 3 other people ahead of me are Maurice, who I don't think is going to get a shot after the last time that he fought Cejudo. Number 2 would be Aljamain. My last win was against someone that Aljamain lost to. And then Petr Yan, who beat Faber and then jumped up to number 3 ahead of me. So on paper, I think I have the best argument. Cruz also hasn't fought in a couple of years. I filled in for him, I think it was a year and a half ago, for that fight to fight John Lineker. That's how I actually got that fight, is because I was filling in for him. I've been putting in work since then. And I mean, it's a little frustrating, but I understand that money's a part of it too. I just don't really know how to get myself to be famous enough to be in that position. But I guess that just comes with fights and who you're fighting. So I'm not stressing it too much.
Yeah, I'm sure longevity has a lot to do with it. You know, you've only had 5 fights in the UFC, but do you feel like that with the way that the division is, where the guys like Dominic Cruz or Jose Aldo are getting title fights, do you feel like that you might have to try to start calling people out? Or I know you're not too active on Twitter, so do you feel like you need to up the game there, or just kind of stay true to yourself and good things will come?
It's something that I've been struggling with. I really don't like Twitter. I don't like the idea of having any more social media stuff than I already have to do. I mean, I did call kind of everyone that was above me out on my Instagram, but I definitely don't fit into that bill of being the guy that's going to stir the pot too much to get attention, like some of the people in this game. But to be honest with you, man, I found that a lot more good comes from me being in a peaceful state of mind instead of me having to stress out about what's going on the internet, which I know isn't necessarily the world that we live in. But as far as my peace goes in my everyday life, that's what I do to be most happiest. So that's what I do. I just stay in my lane. I keep getting better, and I just have faith that at some point I will get the call to be a world champion, and I'll be ready for it whenever that comes. And I even have a little bit more faith because when that call does come, it will be 100% completely earned by my skill and what I've done and how much work I put in the gym. And that just gives me more confidence. So all good, man. It's for my peace. That's why I don't start talking trash and stirring the pot. It's easier for me to live in peace than it is for me to live in that state of mind. So.
And you talk about being ready for the call. Dominic Cruz, obviously a guy that has had his fair share of injuries, well documented. Do you feel like that, if something, God forbid, were to happen to him for this upcoming fight, if May 9th, if the UFC calls, hey, we have Henry Cejudo, do you want him? Would that be within a time frame that you could take, or is that too soon?
No, I mean, when a world championship fight comes up, you say yes. It doesn't matter, quarantine, right off the couch, whatever it is, you say yes to that fight. So I'll say yes to that fight. Depending on I'm bringing my weight down and I'm staying in moderate shape, but I'm not putting all of my eggs into the basket of that happening. But if that call comes, I'm not going to say no to that. So.
All right, so Corey Sandhagen, man, I like his attitude. I really do. I mean, he's a great fighter, young fighter, but I like his attitude, saying, look, I'm not going to fake any kind of trash talking, that sort of thing, just to get people to know me or like me, that sort of thing. By the way, of course, this whole conversation is on YouTube as well, and just want to throw it out there, too. Nolan also already spoke to Dominic Reyes this week. He's got Charles Rosa coming up, so a lot of good interviews coming there. But I want to ask you guys, so you touched on, Oscar, that you're like, hey, man, I like this matchup, man. I like this Dominic Cruz matchup. And I do like the Dominic Cruz matchup. I will say this. I like the Cruz matchup more than the Aldo matchup, even if that sounds weird. And maybe it doesn't sound weird. I don't know. But, I mean, Cruz is just – I consider him one of the all-time great bantamweights, if not the greatest bantamweight of all time. Whereas Aldo, definitely one of the greatest lighter weight fighters of all time, definitely up there in discussion with the greatest featherweight of all time. But it's weird that just because you go to another division and then you lose a fight, you get a title shot. And I understand the special circumstances that were around it, but I've been advocating all along. Once we realized this thing wasn't happening in Brazil, I think Aldo was selected in big part because he's going to Brazil. So I want to ask you about that, like why you like the Cruz matchup better. But I also want to ask kind of the same thing that we asked Corey there is, how do you justify it then? Because I mean, you do have a pretty damn interesting bantamweight division right now, right? You got Peter Yan there. You got Sandhagen, who it may be a little early for Sandhagen, but it looks like he's going to be there. Aljamain, Aljamain definitely deserves it, although, he's come out and said, I'm not fighting during this. So why do you like this matchup?
Okay, so I never hated the Aldo matchup as much as some other people did, even though I actually thought he lost the fight, and I thought, like, for example... Right. That fight to me wasn't as close as, say, Reyes-Jones was. I feel like Aldo didn't get robbed in the way that perhaps Reyes got robbed that fight, if we're going to call anything a robbery or whatever. So let's look at the bantamweight. I agree. The bantamweight division is very stacked in a way that people don't really pay attention. Yes. But if you look at it, Marlon Moraes, Cejudo just beat him for the title, so he's out. Aljamain says he doesn't want to fight during this pandemic, so he's out. Peter Yan is not in America, as far as I'm aware, right?
Correct.
So he can't get here.
Fair.
So he's out. Aldo is out. So at that point, who are we left with? I mean, Cruz. Okay, so it is a name and Cody's lost, but Cruz is without doubt a name value thing. That's undeniable. But every so often, there's a story in MMA that I think, I wouldn't mind sacrificing sort of the meritocracy of the sport just to see the story.
Sure.
So for me, when when the Cruz came back and fought TJ after essentially 3 years away,
right.
That was such a cool story, and he won. Amazing. If he could do it again, I would argue that Dominic Cruz coming back from 3 years off and entering the top tier of the sport and winning is something not seen in sports in general at all. Someone who took 6 years of their prime off and still came back and beat the best. So for that reason alone, I would actually just watch it because I think it's fascinating to see someone potentially make sporting history.
That is cool, man, and it is intriguing because I like Cejudo a lot. I think he gets a kind of an unfair rap at times. I mean, look, he brings it on himself. There's no question about it.
Yeah, well.
But he's behind the scenes. For anybody that doesn't know, Henry's a really good dude. Like, I mean, the antics that he does, like he's playing a character. You know, playing a character is a little bit much. I mean, it is kind of who he is, but he's having fun. I mean, look, he admitted it right before the last fight. Remember when he had that moment in the scrum where he's like, "Do you know what?" He's like, to dress up with this magic stuff and pull around. He's like, "Do you realize like how much like I'm putting on myself to do that?" I thought that was so cool, like a moment of reality. I mean, that's who he is. He gets, you know, that he's embracing the career. He's allowing himself to kind of be made fun of for the attention that it brings him, that sort of thing. So I like Cejudo, even though a lot of people hate him. But Dominic, man, one of the greatest fighters in the history of sport, and so snake bit. I mean, you think about the amount of money that has been taken away from him because of the years of his prime.
Well, it's not just like a lot of people, I think, because they think of that huge like layoff he had before, people don't realize this right now is the longest layoff of Dominic Cruz's career.
That's crazy.
Because he fought in December of 2016, and he took off 2 years, then fought once again, then was off another year. So this is the longest layoff of his career. I mean, that guy should be inarguably the greatest 135er of all time.
Yeah.
And like you said, the guy is just fuck. I mean, his luck's not there.
So ridiculous, man.
He's a grinder, man. He works. I mean, we've all seen him, even when he's embraced his work ethic that he puts towards when he's. We've all seen him when he was calling shows and when he's doing stuff. He'd be there interviewing fighters and doing the work, following the lead of what the greatest American Brian Stan did.
Stan was the first one that did that. Brian Stan was the first one that did it, and then Dominic Cruz started doing it. And now they have the fighter meetings where they basically like bring them in.
They hand feed them.
Yeah.
But I mean, like Dominic was he puts a lot of that same work ethic in what he was doing there with what he did in his fighting. You know, so that always impressed me. But his fighting always impressed me, and the fact that, I mean, these stints away, you got to feel bad for the guy because you wonder how good he really could have been when you see how good he's already been this whole time. But man, you look back, his first pro fight was 2005, and he's still doing it at such a high level. Yeah. And then remember when he came in last time, he was like, there is no such thing as ring rust. He's like, he didn't want to buy into it. So now we'll get to see him get to prove his point with even more so now because he's even spending more time away than he did the last time. But if there's a person out there, you know, maybe outside of like a Tony Ferguson, this is the guy that I think when he says like, it's not an issue, I'm going to come back and perform at a high level, this is the guy that I believe can do it. So part of me really just wants to see him rise to this level just to see what he's going to look like because I know he's going to wow us. You know, I mean, it's just going to be a spectacular show.
It's gonna be great. I mean, that's a riddle for Cejudo, man.
Yeah,
I feel the same way as you. That's why I'm not unhappy about this fight at all because I want to see. Look, we love people getting a chance at greatness, and for like it or not, this is a chance where Cruz can come out and, like I said, make sporting history. But you know, also I think stylistically it's very interesting. There's just so much about it to enjoy. And if to the people listening, if you think like the UFC were like, let's get Cruz in there, I don't believe the UFC were like, let's give Dominic Cruz another title shot because he's proven time and time and again he can't stay there consistently.
True.
And it's very hard to build a division when your champion's in and out all the time.
Where like at times I think people have been critical of like a Frankie Edgar or people have been critical of a Uriah Faber getting a title shot where it felt like they, you know, like, why is the UFC trying to force this upon us?
I because agree. The UFC can rely on them. But I believe, personally, I believe the UFC didn't really want to give Cruz this. They just knew it would be the best bang for their buck at this moment. They had no alternate options.
And that's I think too. I mean, beggars can't be choosers. You know, at this point, you know, when it comes to who's available and who's willing to put themselves out there,
it's a hell of a backup option off the bench, right?
Yeah, completely. I mean, but even with like,
but if Dillashaw was available, Cruz is not getting this title shot. You know, they're getting Dillashaw because Cruz has proven like, what's his best run in the last 8 years? 3 fights in 1 year. You know, is that it? Like, I mean,
Crazy, man.
Yeah, but before that, before those 3 fights, when if you're talking about the Faber, Dillashaw, Mitsugaki, which that fight was awesome.
I meant just the ability to step into a cage 3 fights in 12 months.
Oh, yeah.
right,
That was Faber, Dillashaw, and Cody, which he lost. You know,
can you imagine, dude? That would be sick. Like, I mean, I don't know how much longer he wants to do it, but can you imagine, like, if he came in, beat Cejudo, then maybe like. I mean, you got to think then Sterling would probably be next. Sterling's got to be ready.
He's going to take the title and just hand it off like GSP.
He's just going to
GSP at this
You think
point.
the UFC don't think Cruz has it in him to be like, thanks for the title.
Thanks for the
Here
title.
you go.
Oh,
See, I want to see him come in and just beat like 1 through 5. You know what I mean? Like and be like that.
Dude, if he came back and beat Cejudo, man, I thought Sterling's last performance was amazing. I'm a big fan of Aljamain.
Yeah, I like Aljo.
I'll watch that fight.
Mm-hmm.
I do think Sterling versus Yan is the fight to make. I think that's like. You know, so
and again, you're going way down the line. Stylistically, Dominic and Jan, dude, that'd be a lot of fun.
Dominic and I was preaching before he got the title shot. I was like, I want to see Aldo versus Cruz.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Great fight.
Let's hope he can stay healthy. That'd be good.
Yeah,
all right. Well, speaking of bands, we'll keep it there, and we'll go to one last little clip. I want to steal showcase. Farah Hannoun. By the way, Farah. Shout out to her because if surely by now I would imagine anybody that's listening to this has seen her work. If you weren't familiar with her before she joined MMA Junkie, but I mean she's in Egypt, so her hours are totally like she has to like stay up in the middle of the night to do interviews if she wants to. She doesn't have any direction because for the most part she's working by herself. Normally, you know, we're talking about like how work is and how we don't have people. You know, even on a good day, she only overlaps with the rest of our staff by like 2 hours because she's basically – and the work she does is amazing because it is so nice to kind of peel back the curtain a little bit. It's so nice to wake up in the morning and there's already content loaded up and ready to go that we can publish. You know what I mean? That's because she's been working in the middle of the night. But she has to be a self-starter. She has to be a self-directed person. There's nobody for her to just chit-chat with in the room.
Which is good because that's what she did before we picked her up.
Yeah,
which is how she made it on the radar, which – it's funny because before we started doing a lot more of these internet chats that we've been working, this is the most I've talked to Farah like since we brought her on.
Absolutely.
You know, it was like months and months, and I was like, I know there's this woman that works for us over in Egypt, but I've never actually talked to her.
She's great.
She kicks bunch.
She's a grafter as well. I mean, I met her in Abu Dhabi, and I think I even said to her at the end of the week, I was like, really impressive. Like,
she's sharp, man.
You want that work. You know,
she does great. She does great. So listen, she had a chance to speak with Sean O'Malley. She lined up Sean O'Malley and stayed up late to have a few minutes with him, a guy that luckily did squeeze in that interview. By the way, this full interview is on YouTube as well. I didn't include it in this clip, but man, she asked him.
Subscribe to our YouTube if you don't already. You should unsubscribe from Mac Life.
No, that's our territory. You leave
YouTube
alone.
Don't do that.
You leave YouTube alone.
Leave it alone. No, it's funny though. But it's funny because I hadn't even thought about this. She asked him. She was like, "Have you thought about like what happened? Like if you wouldn't have been able to fight that week because he had been. If you think about it, he had been battling to get back for 2 years.
Yeah.
If he was not on that card because that was basically the last card. I mean, he had Brasilia the next week, but he would have never been on that card. Can you imagine, like, the madness that would be going through his mind? Like, am I ever going to fight again, dude? Like, this.
Well, he certainly left a good impression.
Yeah. Oh, man, he looked phenomenal, man. He's definitely back. So anyway, here's a few minutes with Sean O'Malley.
I'm sure you know that every bantamweight has pretty much called you out, so you're not short of potential options. But do you have any opponent in mind or anyone you'd like to fight next?
No, it's nice. I just don't even really. I don't think about who I'm fighting next or any of that until we have to get a fight booked. Right now, I'm just improving. I'm not thinking, because if I get a name in my head and I'm like, okay, I'm fighting this guy, now I kind of start thinking about fighting that guy, and then it changes because something happens. So it's like kind of a waste of time. So I'm just improving my skill right now. It doesn't matter who I'm fighting next. Once we're a couple months out, probably from the date, then we'll probably figure out who we're fighting next.
And you like having that target on your back with everybody calling you out? They were calling you out even when you were on the sidelines and couldn't fight. So do you like that, having that target on your back with everyone coming after you and wanting to fight you?
I don't necessarily like it or don't like it. I think that's just part of the position I'm in. You know, Conor had the same thing, everyone calling him out. But when you have 200 followers on Instagram and no one talks about you and you're getting paid 10 and 10 still, like it's their job to call out someone who's doing it right, someone has the eyeballs. So everyone that's calling me out is doing it for a reason. They don't know how to, they're doing what they need to do. But yeah, I don't mind it.
And moving forward, how do you see your career playing out? I mean, you're a guy that could easily be fast-tracked just because of your name, what you bring to the cage, your fighting style, the way you're performing. I know you've only had 3 UFC fights, but would you like to be fast-tracked? I mean, do you see a certain career path, top 10, top 5, fast shot? Things could be moving really fast for you. Do you want to be fast-tracked, or how do you look at it?
I'm just going with the flow, just kind of whatever. It's hard to. I'm gonna go out there and perform in my next fight just as good as I performed last fight. So it's gonna be hard to not fight better guys each time. And I'm gonna go knock out the next 3 guys in a row. Probably get a title shot. So it's hard to say with injuries and now this whole situation going on. So it's hard to kind of guess when I'm gonna be champ or when I'm gonna. I don't know. I plan on fighting for the next 10 years, so I'm not really gonna hurry. Once you're champ, you're fighting the next best dude every single fight, and that takes a toll on you. So I'm not necessarily in a rush to get there, but I also know if I keep going out there and performing the way I'm going to, it's gonna happen.
All right, Sean O'Malley looked fantastic in his return. So shout out to everybody on the staff that allowed me to showcase their audio /
with or without their knowledge.
With or without their knowledge.
It's a showcase, folks. Relax.
It's in their contract. They didn't know. They signed it. It's in there. By the way, I was gonna include a little clip from MMA Junkie radio crew, but they've got their own. They got their own stuff. They don't need to be showcased. But they had a great conversation with Valentina Shevchenko. But we wrote a story, or I actually wrote a story about like she's looking for late August. She's recovering from surgery. But they had a great question. They were like, "So what are you doing? Like, I mean, are you doing anything positive during this? Have you had any good things out of this quarantine?" She's like, "Yeah, I'm continuing to learn Thai, and I'm also learning to sail." I'm like, that chick does everything, dude. Like everything.
She's the real cyborg of MMA. Jesus.
I'm telling you, man, it's too funny. And shout out to Simon Head as well, man. He's been grinding over there in England. Was going to showcase some of his stuff as well, but I'll have him on a full podcast coming up. So I did do some work. Lest you think I did nothing at all. I have been basically filling in for Cold Coffee and doing a lot of video production. Lest you think I was just showcasing. I'm going to get this terminology right. Borrowing, yes, other people's stuff. That is not the case. Aggregating, if you will.
Yes. Spotlighting our staff members.
I did have a conversation with Ali Abdelaziz and got a lot of updates from him on his client roster and kind of what he's seen in terms of the UFC schedule coming up and how he's dealing with people. So here is my full extended conversation with Ali Abdelaziz. Ali Abdelaziz, Dominance MMA CEO, one of the most notable managers in the game today, no question about it. I got to ask you, Ali, the same way I'm asking everybody right now, how are you holding up, man? I know that you're a family guy. You love being around your family, but I know you like to get on the mats too and roll around with your crew. So how are you holding up during the quarantine?
I'm good, man. I'm making the best out of it, staying positive, try to kind of make sure everybody's doing okay too, who around me, and they make sure I'm okay also. It's, it's so easy to get discouraged, in this kind of situation, especially some of these people who need, like, they're not making money, like livelihood been taken away from them. Some of us, they can be okay without work for a couple months. Some of us, they cannot, and we just make sure we stay positive and just stay connected with everybody who's in my circle, and try to do the best I can to look out for them and they look out for me.
No doubt. Let's talk about your circle of clients, man. Obviously a notable list. I wanted to get the update first on Khabib, if you can, how he's doing. I mean, I know he took a little bit of heat from UFC 249 by not being there for the fight, but it looks like he was right. I mean, the fight didn't end up happening anyway, and of course, I guess Ramadan's about to begin as well, so he's out for a little while. But I don't know. Have you talked to him? How's he feeling about the whole situation? How the whole thing kind of fell apart, unfortunately.
Even the fight has happened. He was right, everything was shutting down in the U.S. He's planning on going to Dubai and train there to finish his camp. We was here in rumbling. The fight might be there, but and after that, when he went there, the border was closed. He went to Russia. The border, Russia's closed. Doesn't matter what everybody said, to be honest with you. The guy spent here seven weeks, spent hundreds of thousands of dollars. He brought 8 people with him. He's not a guy gonna shy from a fight. It doesn't matter who you are. But he lost. He lost because he come here, spend a lot of time away from his family, his kids, and he can't get this time back. It's not even about the money or anything like that. It's just about the time, who very much wasted. And he's back in Russia, training, just being safe, and that's it.
I know he posted on Instagram. He kind of mentioned September. He didn't really say he was fighting in September, but the way he said it kind of hinted like that's when he's looking. Is that kind of his plan right now, you think, is to fight again in September? And if so, I mean, why so long? Why such a big change?
I think, listen, Ramadan is going to start next week. I think he can be back in August. He told me originally the UFC have a schedule in San Francisco fight. I think it was August 1st. He can fight there. There's no problem. It doesn't have to be September. But, as you know, September, they always have this Abu Dhabi card, and I'm sure the UFC want him to fight there.
That would definitely make sense. I'd forgotten about that. Yeah, that'd be a good fit. All right, well, let's talk about the guy that stepped in, another one of your clients, man, Justin Gaethje. So interesting, right? Because he never wants to take short notice fights. He said, I don't want to do it. And this time he said, I'm jumping in there. I'm going to help out. So talk to me about that. What was the decision like? How did that happen that he said, yeah, I'm going to take a short notice fight?
When this situation happened, right when I told the UFC, Habib is out, but I very much at the same time I was communicating with Justin and Kamaru Usman, and Justin was a little bit. I did not expect him to say yes, but he's like, listen, I can step in. It's a title shot, and it's something good to do, for the public to let know we're strong and we'll, make a little bit money. We fight for money. This is guys what they do, right? But it wasn't only about the money. It was just about the opportunity, and he jumped all over it.
Was there any part of you as a manager that I don't know, tried to ask the UFC to get Tony Ferguson to wait? I mean, I know you can't, make him do anything if he wants to fight, but that Tony Ferguson Habib fight, that's the fight that everybody wanted to see forever. Was there any part of you that said, hey guys, why don't y'all ask Tony to wait and not take a fight so that we preserve this matchup?
I don't think it's right for me to ask for that, because especially Tony haven't fought for a long time. I'm sure he have responsibility, he have families, he need money. And listen, if Tony it was up to him. He could have said yes to him, or he could have said to Justin, or said he gonna wait for Khabib, right? And he choose to take Justin, and it's good for everybody. He get to fight, he get some of this ring rust off. Justin get to fight, he make a living for his family. Justin get that opportunity to knock it off, and that's it.
So let's say Justin Gaethje wins, which I'm sure you're expecting him to. I guess that would set up Justin Gaethje and Habib for a title fight. Is that a fight that you'd be willing to help put together? I imagine that'd be a difficult situation for you with those two guys.
Listen, Justin is gonna win. That's his. That's the mindset we all have. And listen, you see Henry Cejudo fought Marlon Moraes before. This guy's an interim champion. He's gonna become the interim champion. Him and Khabib gonna fight for the undisputed lightweight champion. These guys work all their life to become a world champion. Who I am to step in the way, not to make it happen. I know Tony had problem before with that, but this is not how I do business. I don't think it's fair for anyone, for any manager or a promoter, to stop a guy from making his dream to become true, to become the undisputed UFC champion. And I think it's fair enough. If Justin win, it's a fair fight. Him and Khabib will fight. Business is normal. Business is normal.
Yeah, you've got a bunch of clients, Habib, on this May 9th card. I guess first, do you know where it's going to take place? I mean, has that been made clear to you where this May 9th card is going to happen?
Doesn't matter. The UFC is taking precautions. This LA thing was going to be great because they was taking so much precautions about guys who's going to get tested. If you go inside the hotel, you cannot leave. If you leave, the fight is off. The corner man even cannot leave. Everybody's going to have the open workout room inside. They're going to have open workout room in every room. There's going to be a mat in every room. Everybody's getting tested. It was going to be great. It was going to be great, and I think it was going to be safe. It's a bummer this fight didn't happen, but now we get to fight May 9.
So Ali, let me ask you, what are the conversations with your clients like? I mean, you got a lot of guys on this May 9th card. I mean, what are athletes saying right now? Are they worried? Are they concerned? Are they nervous? What's the conversations like when you say, "Hey, are you willing to fight on May 9th?"
Listen, man, fighters, they go there and they risk their body, their health. Of course, they worry for this fight not to happen because it sucks to train for a training camp and keep postponing. But I think everybody on this card is very positive. You have to stay positive. You have to stay motivated. I would say if this doesn't happen, I think everybody should be worried. But personally, I don't think anybody should be worried at all. I think this fight card is going to go through, and I think it's going to be the week leading after that is going to be two fights a week, or at least one fight a week. I think everybody will get their fight before end of the year, and I think things will be normal. And I know the only problem now, the international guys. And I know the UFC working on this Fight Island thing to get in fights, And let's see what's going to happen, man. We have to stay positive. This is a livelihood, and this is what we do. And without this, life's not the same for us. So many different ways. The guys, they're competitors. This is the way they make money. This is a livelihood. We don't know much, a lot of us, we don't know too much about outside MMA, and one of them, I'm so into deep into this whole MMA things, and if I'm not working, I'm on the mat. If I'm not on the mat, I'm on the phone. If I'm not on the phone, I'm in a meeting, and all my livelihood surrounding by the passion of my fighters, MMA, and this is what we do. And a lot of these guys, that's how they support their families. That's how I support my families. That's how you support your families. And I'm talking about having this fight is very, very important to just move on, not only financially, mentally, physically, for everybody. But of course, we have to take precautions and we have to be smart about it. And I think what Dana White does, he's passionate, but he have very, very smart team around him. They make sure, there's nobody ever died in the UFC. Nobody ever been seriously hurt in MMA in general. And I think let the professional do what they do. Let them protect us, because if we sign a contract with them, they're responsible to protect us. If you're a UFC fighter, Bellator fighter, PFL fighters, there's nobody do it better than the UFC. Medical, they make you do so much tests, and I think they're gonna do it right. And you have a lot of people behind the scene, like guys like Hunter, very smart people. You got Dr. Davison. You got so many names. I'm probably gonna miss a lot of names. Very, very smart people. Lawrence. A lot of people, they've been doing this for a long time, and they are the last thing the UFC want to do something and somebody dies. You know what I'm saying? Anything can happen, but this is not what they do, and they're not gonna risk a $4 or $5 billion company. They can wait. They have enough money to wait. You know what I'm saying? But I think also they need to make money. We need to make money. Everybody make money. Everybody, it is about money. It's about the economy. It's about, you see Donald Trump, he just appointed Dana to be part of the economic team. It's kind of crazy, but I love it. Listen, I think, Donald Trump, a lot of people get a bad rap, but I think he's a realist. Like me personally, I'm not a top politician, but when I look at him, he's real. And Dana White, everybody knows how real he can get. He's too real sometimes. But this is the way you have to do things sometimes. But it's I'm excited, man. May 9, I have 5 guys. I have main event, co-main event. We got Henry Cejudo fighting. We haven't seen him. We missed him. We missed Henry Cejudo. And I guess as a fan, I can't wait to see him. To fight.
All right, I got to ask you about Triple C. How did he end up fighting Dominic Cruz? I mean, I understand Aldo couldn't travel and why it happened, but I mean, you do have names like Peter Yan, Aljamain Sterling, Corey Sandhagen, very top contenders. And I know that Henry wants to fight the legends of the sport. He wants to fight the big names, and Dominic's the bigger name, but he's not the top contender right now, right? So I mean, does he not want to face those top contenders at all? Or
first of all, Peter Yan fighting Marlon, and Peter Yan doesn't even have a visa to be in the U.S., right? Publicly, Aljamain, I believe, said he's not fighting through the pandemic, and he's recovering from a thumb injury. I believe, I'm don't quote me, but that's what I was kind of been hearing from in the media and Cody Sanhagen, I'm not sure what's about him, but listen, at the end of the day, you know, Henry, sometimes, man, when you accomplish this much, you like Israel Adesanya, he wanted to fight Romero, was coming off 2 losses, right? You know, like Dominic Cruz is, Frankie's name was in it. Frankie's name was in it even before Dominic Cruz. That was the first option. Actually, it wasn't Dominic. And I know Henry talked Henry talked to Dana directly. Actually, I wasn't involved in this conversation, and Dana was agreed to it. But it wasn't gonna give enough time to Frankie to cut the weight because Frankie's coming from a 45-pounder. This Dominic Cruz, the guy, he's been around for a long time. He has 20-2 record. It's an unbelievable record. I think he come back from a long layoff, beat TJ Dillashaw, and he lost to Cody. I know Cody wanted to get the shot too, but Henry, it was completely up to Henry who he wanted to fight, and he said Dominic Cruz is on the table, and listen, Dominic Cruz is steel. He bring a lot of things to the table. He's a big name, and you make the big fights, the biggest fight. I believe Cody's a bigger name. I believe Frankie Edgar is a bigger name, but Dominic Cruz, man, is a legend, and I think if you give it to somebody, Dominic Cruz, I'm not gonna say deserve it over other guys, but name value, he's 100 times much bigger than all these guys, and I think it's gonna be a great fight. Dominic is a tough competitor. He always bring it in an entertainment level, technical level. We don't know how good Dominic is gonna look. I miss watching Triple C. I miss watching Dominic Cruz too. If it's gonna be the last time when Cody put this weapon on him, or it's gonna be a different Dominic Cruz. I'm very, as a fan, I'm excited about looking to see Dominic. I don't think anybody can say Dominic deserve it. Doesn't deserve it. At the time we are in, there's no such a thing he deserved it or not, right? Listen, let's be real. Aldo didn't deserve this, but by the numbers, by the ranking, but what Aldo have done throughout his career, what Dominic Cruz have done throughout his career, what Frankie Edgar does throughout his career, right? And if you want to take this legend, listen, if Henry win, and I'm looking for him to win for sure. 8 weeks later, he said he want to fight Aldo. If we can get Aldo, he gonna fight Aldo. He's still the next opponent is still Jose Aldo. It's none of these other guys. This is what he wants, and this is what's the deal. He told the UFC, but I know Aldo have some travel issues or visas. I don't know, but also how are we gonna say no to Aldo? The guy is one of the best lighter weight we ever seen. And I see, I feel for like Peter Yan, even Marlon coming back. Cody can get wins, and Cody is one of the biggest name in the division. Like name wise, he's a superstar. But also Aljamain, all those guys, they've been doing really well. They all they all deserve it. But I think everything is timing. They're all great fighters, great competitors, and they have to go out there and be vocal, and they have to go out there and go after. Listen, nobody, Henry Cejudo alone, he make people talk about bantamweight. Nobody ever talk about bantamweight this much. The man, he kept everybody relevant, and hate him or leave him, all those guys should be grateful for him, because without him, you will not talk about this bantamweight like that. He keep everybody. He have not fought for almost a year, but somehow he stayed in the media more than all of them, and they all been fighting. And listen, my opinion is he should be in the conversation, the greatest of all the time, because he's a 2-division champion. He's defending actually his title. He's an Olympic champion, and whatever Henry done, people talk about Demetrius Johnson, bro. What Henry does a lot more for the sport than Demetrius Johnson ever did. I'm not saying Demetrius Johnson is not a GOAT. He is a GOAT. I think he's an amazing, a great human being. He's just a great guy. But I'm talking about whoever does to Marlon, to TJ Dillashaw. Nobody does this to these guys. Nobody. And what Henry doing to everybody, nobody have ever done. And I think, my opinion, he's one of the greatest fighters to ever do it. Maybe he is the greatest fighter to ever do it. By accomplishment.
He certainly keeps himself in the headlines. That's for sure. He's done a great job of marketing.
By the way, like, he's not like McGregor. Like McGregor keep himself in the headline by bullshitting people, by putting false narrative. Henry keep holding he stay in the headline because he remind everybody, hey, shut up. I'm the Triple C. I'm the flyweight champion. I'm the bantamweight champion. I'm the Olympic champion. He's putting people in that place by saying the correct things. When Connor talk about some stuff happened a long time ago. This is even he coming off a loss. If Henry coming off a loss and talking like that, it would be like a joke. But he's whooping everybody's ass, and if you getting whooped, and you witness being whooped, you can't say nothing about Henry. To be honest with you.
Well, you know,
yeah, him and Cody going at it. For me, I sit back because I know if Cody go out there and knock out a Asensio, believe me, Cody will probably jump all over these guys because Cody, he's one of the biggest stars in the sport. If Marlon go out there and knock out Peter Yan, Marlon back in the thing. And listen, Marlon Barra is probably one of the most dangerous guys in the bantamweight division. Everybody brings something different, and this is why bantamweight right now, all these guys, they should be very happy, but because they are relevant. All of them are relevant. Peter Yan, Aljamain, Marlon, Cody, all these guys are relevant, and you have to give credit to Henry a little bit for that.
What's the update on Cody Garbrandt? I wanted to ask you about him. How's he doing health wise? And it says maybe a move to flyweight is the right move for him. You're talking about how much he matters at bantamweight. What's his future and his status right now?
Listen, man, I think Cody, talent-wise, is probably one of the most talented guys in the division by a mile. But in a way, he moved to Mark Henry. He have different coaches. He still work with Chris, alpha male guys too. And he's taking the best of both sports, And now I think Cody's getting a lot better. But he got this problem with his kidneys. He went to the hospital. He was in the ICU for almost a week. And now we trying to just make sure he get back on track and make sure when he fight, I want to make sure he is ready to go. Because let's be real, he lost his last 3 fights. We can't lose for him to, listen, if we have a training camp and lose, it's okay. But if we make like some stupid choices, jump in early or anything like that, I think it's the best thing for him. Because on point, Cody Garbrandt is not too many people can beat him, to be honest with you. In shape, Cody Garbrandt is very, very hard man to even come close to even to touch. This is what I think. We saw what he did to Dominic Cruz. And Dominic Cruz, it's a heavy fighter. He's not no easy fighter. But I'm talking about when you're going to see Cody Garbrandt again at 35 or at 25, you're going to see something special. This is my opinion.
Nice. You mentioned Frankie Edgar's name, too, as being involved in the title shot. He's had a couple rough setbacks as well. What's the future hold for Frankie Edgar? What does he still want to accomplish, and where do you see him going next?
I think Frankie just go out there and, beat guy like Aljamain or beat guys like some of these names, and you can see him back also in the title hunt. Listen, but at the end of the day, too, Frankie, he cannot just be, he's not 26 anymore. He's not 27. He can't take fight on 2 weeks' notice like he always does. This is something we have to hold him back, and we have to be like, listen, we have to have right training camp, the right weight cut, especially on a new weight division. When you go to a new weight division, it's a little bit different. You don't know how your speed is going to match with these people. You don't know how your weight cut is going to match. This is why he have to be in the top shape in his life for him to be able to compete on this highest level, because Frankie Edgar is not getting in a bone. He's not getting number 15. He's gonna get somebody who's a heavy hitter, and I think Frankie can handle the best still.
How close are we to getting done on Usman and Masvidal? That's the fight everybody wants to see right now. How close are we getting done? Has this thing slowed it down just because the UFC hasn't had time to deal with it, or what's the holdup?
Listen, I'm kind of getting tired of this whole thing because it's been a lot of trash talking. It's going back and forth, and I feel, when the fight pre-long like that, when the fight happened, they already talked to all the trash. Everything is burned out, And I feel this fight need to happen, Listen, Masvidal is a challenge, and he's a puzzle. Kamaru know how to solve puzzles, and I believe it's one of the biggest fight I believe one of the biggest fights the UFC can make today. I think the animosity is real. That they don't like each other. They've been going at it. There's a history there between the teams, and I think Kamaru's is just gonna do what he does. He's gonna go out there and dominate. And Masvidal, I said he's been doing well. He's been fighting very well. And he's a veteran. He's crafty. You know, but listen, if you look at Kamaru Usman, uh, Woodley, I know, said he's one of the greatest welterweight of all the time, right? I think this claim is gonna be gone. I think George St. Pierre, at the moment, he is, right? Because the things he did. But if you look at Kamaru's last 5 opponents, they all top 5 fighters. There was not guy coming off a loss. It was not like an easy matchups. He talk about Maya, Dos Anjos, Kobe Covington, Tyrone Woodley, everybody, Leon Edward, everybody he beat it there in top 5. The only guy he did not beat in the top 5, it's Masvidal, right? It's Masvidal, and he beat all the top guys. After he beat Masvidal, who else left? You understand? And in a way, listen, Tyrone Woodley, he was a great champion, And I know that they go back and forth, and you can say whatever you want about Woodley. He's a great champion, and the way Kamaru beat him, he made a statement. And listen, Woodley said he have an off night. Listen, he have a chance to win a couple of fights and get back and get a rematch. The result is going to be different? I don't think so. But if Woodley think he is. But I'm talking about the welterweight division have not been this exciting in a long, long time. You cannot start putting Kamaru in the conversation. He's one of the baddest dudes in the UFC today in every weight division. Listen, you see how nobody dominates people the way he does. Kobe Covington, you can say whatever you want about him. Kobe Covington will probably beat everybody in the division. And the way Kamaru ride it out, and remember, Kamaru was not even 50% in this fight. There's no excuse. This is the first time I'm going to say that. And probably Kamaru is not going to be happy I said that. He was going through a lot in this camp. But he went out there and he knocked the Kobe out. Kobe can say whatever he wants. He can say whatever. But it's all been excuses. And now the welterweight division, you got guys like Gilbert Burns, who is coming on strong, right? I might have Kamaru fighting Gilbert Burns. You never know, And this one is going to be crazy because I manage both guys, and both guys, they train at the same camp. But in a way, Gilbert Burns looking. I'm telling you, a lot of people right now do not want to fight Gilbert Burns.
He's trying to fight every weekend.
I'm telling you something. When this guy say you fight Francis, he's not joking. I will never make something like that happen. But I'm talking about he really. Listen, let me tell you a story about Gilbert Burns. Gilbert Burns, I don't think Sean Shelby was high on him, right, when I started managing him. And I very much told him, Gilbert, listen, Sean letting you fight the last fight on your contract. When the UFC lets you do that, that means they try to cut you, right? And Gilbert Burns was at this point, like, he's a grappler, and I believe Sean Shelby lit a fire under his ass, because since Sean did that, Gilbert been on fire, and he's become not one of maybe favorite guys, Sean guys, and now Sean loved this guy because what he does show up, and he took fight on 8 days notice, 9 days notice, 1 month's notice. His last 4 fights, I think, was on all short notice, And this one guy too, him and Woodley, the UFC was trying to make it. I don't think Woodley thought it made sense. It's okay, it's no problem. He's number 1, he's number 6, and I think this ranking it killed a lot of great fights. But we're gonna see, man. I think it's a good time to be part of the sport right now, especially because I think Dana White is gonna come hard, man. He's gonna have fight 2-3 times a week. You might see the old Dana White, who, like, you see him, he's doing media more than ever we've seen him. I at nighttime I get my popcorn and I watch it. I just started listening to all this interview and stuff. And this is something I did before I become in the sport. I was a huge fan. You know, I was a huge fan of Dana and the UFC, and I always loved to watch the interview and antics and and all this craziness. And now I'm seeing that old Dana coming back, and he's coming hard. And I'm telling you something, he's a ruthless dude, man, and he wants to prove everyone wrong. And I'm telling you, if he said anything bad about him, or you said this fight that happened, he's gonna get you.
What do you know about Fight Island, man? This is this crazy thing that he's coming up with, right? What to give us some scoop on that, because you're gonna have a lot of international fighters. You're gonna have a lot of people fighting there, I imagine.
I think I got more international fighters than anybody. I think I got more fighters than anybody by miles in the UFC. But I'm telling you something, man. Like a lot of I watched something ESPN that said Dana White tries to stay relevant, right? These people are crazy. How this guy, he probably have close to $1 billion. He can sit back and relax, you know what I'm saying, and not do nothing. But he really have this Fight Island is real, and he's not gonna just lie to the whole entire world, be like fake news. You know, it's the Fight Island is real. I know it's real because I know some people involved in it, right? I'm not gonna say much because I don't know much, right? This Fight Island is real because a lot of these international fighters, they're gonna go there and fight, and it's also it's great because it doesn't matter where you're from China, from Russia, from Canada, wherever you're from, you're gonna have an opportunity to make money, to live your dreams. Remember, these fighters have short window to make money. And in life, you can buy everything back. But one thing you cannot buy back is time. When guys want to hold out and not fight and stuff like that, I hate it. Because the UFC, the machine, they go on without you, with you. Of course, it's a lot of negotiation tactic, a lot of things we all do. But time, this has killed a lot of people. Like, this is six months of your career, right? 6 months of your career, you can fight one fight or two fight. You could have made money, right? And also ring rust. A lot of guys have access to gym full time, and some guys don't have access to nothing. That means it's not equal. Some guys are training, and some guys are running and lifting weight. When you come back, you're gonna see a lot of upsets because a lot of these guys who is training, they're gonna be beating a lot of these guys who's better than them, but they have not been training, right? You will see a lot of crazy things happening when you come back. My opinion. And it's not going to be fair for a while, because a lot of the gyms, they close, they're not going to open, and a lot of the gyms, they are open, but they open in the secrets, right? But it's going to be interesting. Some of my guys, they're not getting the right training right now, but some of them getting full training. Like Kamaru, he's training every day, 2 times a day. Henry training 3 times a day. Justin, he have his own gym, he's training, And a lot of my guys, they're not getting the right training. I'm being real with you, And I think this is part of the reason Frankie Edgar did not step up, because Frankie Edgar, it didn't have the structures everybody else had.
Yeah. You mentioned negotiations. I'm curious. I don't know if you've gotten this far yet, but we know we got Fight Island. We know we're going to have a lot of shows at the Apex. That means the UFC is not going to be making any money on gate revenue. I've heard in other sports that athletes are being asked to maybe take a little bit of a pay reduction in order to keep the leagues going. Have you had to have any conversations like that? Or do you anticipate the UFC coming to you and saying, hey, can you guys take a little bit less money because we're not making any money?
The UFC is not going to do that. I think the UFC is going to lose probably, if you did the calculation of all the show they have a year, they'll probably lose between $60 to $80 million gate a year, right? But at the end of the day, they have a contract. They're not gonna come back and say take less money. And first, I'm a team player, but I think a lot of these fighters they signed a contract, I don't think the UFC will ever come say that. They did not come say that to me. I don't think they will. But remember, we in it together too. We in it together, and. You never know what happened. I'm not saying no or yes about things because I don't know what's the future holds. But I don't.
Nobody does.
Listen, like Dana White is a different kind of guy, right? He said he's not laying any of his employees off, and he didn't, right? Everybody else in the world did, except him, right? I don't think he's gonna come and ask the fighter take less money, right? And also, the structure of other sports is very different. They have pensions, they have a lot of things. A lot of these fighters, they don't have that. I don't think the UFC is gonna say that's the fighters, and I don't think this is Dana style. This is not, I know him personally, and I know everybody working there. It's not their style. They think, okay, you're making 10, 12,000. We're gonna give you 10 and 10. It's not like that. It's not like that. And I don't think any of the fighters gonna say yes.
Yeah, I agree.
Being honest.
Yeah, they work for that contract.
I'm talking about they losing money. They're gonna lose money, but I think they make a lot of money too. But I think they want to honor their contract. They want to be the pioneer to come back. They want to make an example, and I think they are very smart because now they're gonna get a lot of fans. If they come first, a lot of people is gonna be UFC fans. That means when it's open up, a lot of pay-per-view buys. I don't know about the pay-per-view buys now because people are not spending money. They're gonna be. I'm a little bit 50-50 on it, but I think if they come May 9 and they start putting on shows, many people are gonna become UFC fans from other sports.
I agree. Ali, you mentioned Conor McGregor's name earlier, so I have to ask you. I mean, I know Khabib doesn't really seem all that interested in a rematch ever, but I mean, you got Dana saying this is the biggest fight in the world. So, what do you think? I mean, is there enough money to get Khabib interested in something? I kind of get the feeling sometimes he doesn't really care about money that much. I don't know if that's accurate, but is there a way that he would ever be interested in fighting Conor again?
I can see George fighting George. I can see Khabib fighting George St. Pierre before Conor. Like now, Conor is Khabib's son. He's my nephew. You understand? He's his son. You know what I'm saying? Now, when you whip your son, sometimes be like you gotta give your son a break. Your son gotta build his self-esteem back up. And I want my nephew to go out there and get some takedown lessons and wrestling, like Henry Hoda said. I said the thing you should get in your quarantine, get some takedown defense. Henry's right. Like he's our young family member right now, and I think he needs to get like a little time off and work on his craft. He's out there quoting good things. I'm probably never gonna say nothing good about this motherfucker, to be honest with you, but he's doing some good things, and fuck, man, like I think it's awesome. I see him doing some good things. Khabib does a lot of things too, but he never showed it. But it's okay because I think showing it can encourage people too. But but it's okay. But he's Khabib's son. He's my nephew, and I think my nephew needs to sit back a little bit, let them big boys handle business. Let Gaethje fight Tony, and he's right now. If you say Khabib number 1, Gaethje and Tony is number 2 and 3. He's number 4, and number 4 he's probably gonna sit out maybe a year before he get a crack at a title. But I see GSP getting. I can see Khabib fighting GSP before he fight Conor. I really truly do, and I'm not trying to promote a fight. And this is what I think. And I know George said some interview and said some things, but let's see what happened. Listen, Justin have to fight Tony. The winner got to fight Khabib. It's an undisputed title on the line. Khabib is always going to be fair to people the contenders. One thing fighters should respect, and they will miss. Khabib is never going to step over a number 1 contender for a money fight. I promise you that. If you're the number 1 contender, he's going to give you a shot over a money fight. But listen, Conor make a lot of sense financially. It's a lot more money. He'll probably make 5 times more money. I think as a fight, Khabib can make $50 million. You know what I'm saying? He'll make probably 3.5 more than he normally make, right? But also people doesn't understand. I'm not the boss. He's not the boss. His father is the boss. And whatever his father wants, that's what's going to happen. Khabib will have no say so. I have no say so. His father have say so. If his father wake up in the morning said, boys, get up together. We're fighting Conor. We're fighting Conor. But his father said, no. I don't think anybody can change it. It's not me, not Dana. His father he's the gangster. He's the gangster. But, and I know his father said, listen, his father he's the boss, man. He's gonna choose, and we're gonna follow the plan he does.
I dig it.
Sit back a little bit.
Well, listen, man, I've taken a lot of your time. I appreciate it. I hope we get back to action on May 9th, if I'm being honest, man. I really do.
I'll tell you something. May 9th, tune in only at ESPN and pay-per-view. UFC 250 is 100% is a go. And I dare you to say it's not going to happen. 100%. I want to give prop out to everybody's involved. The UFC staff, the medical team, the matchmaker, Dana, all these guys for putting all this hard work. And also, I want to give a shout out to all the fighters because it's not easy to train and cancel, to train and cancel. You got to give a shout out to all the fighters. The fighters are the heroes here. Let's not get it twisted. The fighters are the heroes. They the one have to break camp 2-3 times in fighting. And everybody fighting on UFC 250, they are the best of the best in the sport, right? And everybody should plus all these guys. It doesn't matter if they're the enemy or the friend, we like him, we don't like him. I think it's time to unite a little bit and get the fight going. And after that, everybody can go to war again.
All right, so there you go. Ali Abdelaziz, obviously not everybody's favorite character in the sport, but it is hard to deny the talent that man represents. And I thought he had some good updates there. Appreciate him spending that extended time with me just a little bit before I came over here, basically. So that was a little bit earlier today. Taped that conversation. We'll have it up on MMA Junkie as well, and the YouTube channel and all that. All right, guys, here's where we get really important information. Recommendations for people to watch. Recommendations to do. I want to say, I'm just going to throw it out there. Green Rush, the movie that Rick Lee helped produce.
Oh, boy.
Uriah Faber, of course, is in there. Andre Feely actually starred in it, was on camera, had several lines there. I mean, he's not the primary role, but it's not like one of those things where he's just in there for like 2 seconds and he says he was in there. Like, he was actually in it. I watched the movie and I liked it a lot, man. It was actually
Didn't you have a part in it or something?
It's
He
pretty dark.
he does have a part in it. Yes, he does. Yes.
Is this a paid advertisement?
Sir, my voice is used very slightly in the beginning, so I assure you, this is not because
Did
I'm
Luke
tied
Thomas
to
tell
it
you
anymore.
to promote this?
He's also in the movie.
Oh, okay. I know. Okay. Was it Karen Bryant that said something?
Sir, I am featured for like 2 seconds, and it's literally just my audio.
The funny thing is, Rick asked me one night, he's like, "Hey, do you want to come watch the movie?" And he underestimated how drunk I already was at like 7 o'clock. I was like, "I fucking love to watch a movie, mate." And he said in the morning, after I fell asleep in his bed, he said in the morning, he was like, "Yeah, you watched that really intensely." So I guess I was just watching, going, "I get what's happening here," screaming at the screen and stuff.
Wow.
But you remember none of it.
It was a good film, man. It's a good film.
It's actually a good film. The characters are, I mean, listen,
The trailer looked awesome.
Dude,
It's a good film.
The trailer looked really good.
Is it $100 million Hollywood blockbuster? Like, no, of course, it's an independent film. But as far as like the characters and the story, like, it's good, man. It's actually good.
It looked a lot more, as you put in your tweet, darker and a lot more fully fleshed out than what I thought it would be initially.
That's it.
Like it looked like a real movie.
Dude, like there's gonna
not just like, hey, we got a couple guys together to throw some lines together.
It's like I was actually talking to Rick about this after I watched it. I'm like,
I think I've seen the lead guy in some stuff before.
I'm not sure. I don't watch video movies.
He has been in stuff.
I feel like
Can't remember what it was, but
I feel like I've seen him.
Here's what I told Rick, and I hope this will get people to understand. Like, as you said, like fleshed out. Like, there are certain good guys that you start cheering against. There are certain bad guys that you start cheering for. You know what I mean? So there's actually like kind of character arcs, that sort of thing.
And I also think a lot of people, when they see like MMA guys or wrestlers in movies, they think, oh, it's a novelty movie that's selling on the case of it's got this fucker in it. That's not what this is. This is a movie that has actors who also happen to do MMA. This is a real movie. This is not a novelty movie. That's what I took.
They basically only gave Feely like one, I mean, they'd never like tried to make him a fighter at all. In fact, there's one line, and it doesn't. I mean, I'm not spoiling anything or whatever, but there's something brought up, and he's like, oh, there's a boxer down the way. He's like, don't watch boxing. I thought that was pretty funny. I was like, just a funny little, like a little. Oh, okay, cool. He's like, yeah, I don't watch boxing.
Funny enough, and I'm sure I probably said in the past, I too once was in a weed movie.
What? I didn't know this.
Johnny Appleweed.
Crime Stoppers.
Johnny Appleweed. Johnny Appleweed.
And my name was Curtis. I was a drug dealer. In a small, teeny little bit. I think I had like a line or two or something.
I was in a movie once called. It was in a gangster robbery movie, and it was called 4-3-2-1. 4 girls, 3 cities, 2 days, 1 chance. And
Whoa. That's some James Bond sounding stuff.
no, it wasn't. It was fucking shit. But I was in
Jeez.
it. I had 2 lines.
I feel like such a loser now.
I actually have You're in green. You should have an idea.
My voice is in there for 2 seconds.
You should have the IMDb credit for it.
Yeah, I tell you what. When you see all the women who stop me for breathing 4-3-2-1, man, let me tell you.
Just constant.
So I don't have movie things, but like I've said, I've been playing more Xbox. So I'll give you a couple game recommendations of what I've been playing. I played. I like the military flight games. There's that one called Ace Combat 7. I forget what
You're on
after
the list.
that one is awesome. If you like to fly planes and stuff, Ace Combat 7. I played one that was called Ori and the Blind Forest.
It sounds like the worst children's book ever
No,
written.
they're very, very sort of more like Japanimation based ones. But Ori and the Blind Forest, and then this last one, which is absolutely it came out in like 2017. Nier Automata. I think it's a sequel to the first Nier game. Nier, and then Automata. It is probably one of the most beautiful games I've ever played. It literally is. I was blown away by it. If I had to rate the game, I'm gonna give it 10 out of 10. It is absolutely. It's like a slasher game where you like your sword play or whatever. It is a fantastic and beautiful game.
This is the part of the show where I realized if we didn't drink and we didn't work in the same place, we would have nothing in common.
Welcome to Kenny's console corner.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
So there's
I did break down and finally watch Tiger King. I finally had enough time. That I've watched Tiger King.
I haven't done it yet.
What? It's a part of your pop culture now.
Well, it's the same thing when everybody was like, "You have to. You're gonna flame me on this one." Everybody was like, "You had to watch that." What's the with Brian? And he's a drug dealer and everybody.
Breaking Bad.
Breaking Bad.
Yeah, I never watched that.
I never watched Breaking Bad.
Yeah, me neither.
Everybody was like, "Dude, you have to watch it."
No, but the difference is
I'll get around to Tiger King eventually. But it's like
Tiger King, you have to watch it because you've got fuck all else to do.
It's just a great. I was telling
you can play Xbox games.
So my wife watched it all, and she was like, "You should watch it. Like, it's not bad. You know, it's kind of entertaining." And then when I watched the first episode, and I was like, "Yeah, it's not bad." She's like, "It's just a good way to waste time, basically." I mean, that's it. Like, it's not like
it's watching shitty people be shitty to each other.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I didn't hate it. It's not like you're not gonna walk away saying it's the best thing you've ever watched. But it's like right now we all got time to kill. Yeah. It's a good way to kill some time.
Speaking of which, I watched Ozark. Good fucking show.
I heard that one was really good.
I recommend
heard
it
that
a
one was
lot.
good.
Recommend it a lot. Good
Did you just start with season 3 though?
No, I started so they have all 3 on Netflix. So I just. Like I said,
I heard if you start, because somebody was saying like the season 3 debut is awesome, but like if you started there, you would have no idea.
No,
what it is.
You need to watch. You need to watch it from the beginning.
That'd be terrible.
What's that?
Who would want to start on a season 3 of something?
Yeah.
You would just have to feel like what I feel like I'm missing something.
Westworld's crushing it, by the way, on season 3.
Was good.
Westworld season 1 I loved. Westworld season 2 I didn't like as much, but season 3 is crushing it.
That's a good series. I do not recommend Four Weddings, which I think is the name of this crappy show that Agent H watches, where 4 women go to watch each other's weddings and then they rate them, and at the very end the winner gets a honeymoon paid for.
I'll be honest with you, mate. If you couldn't tell that from the title alone, there's not a lot of hope for you.
It is garbage.
It's called 4 Weddings.
Another one that she likes to watch is 90 Day Fiancé. I feel like we maybe talked about that before. It is literally one of the worst things in the world. And the show is like on multiple seasons, I think, or something. It's absolutely gives you no hope in humanity. So those are my recommendations, that if you're watching them, walk in front of a bus.
Unfortunately, buses aren't running at this moment in time.
So you're
gonna
go. So bad.
Run as fast as you can into a bus and see what happens.
And then reconsider your life choices.
Oh, man. All right, well, listen. By the way, I never said anything, but if you like the show, make sure you rate it in iTunes, rate us, reviews. Patreon.com/MMA Roadshow. Trying to keep content up there, but once we get going again on May 9th.
You have been very, very good posting stuff up on there.
Trying to post things in there.
Grinding away.
Patreon.com/MMA Roadshow, and that will be the exclusive home of.
And I like the feedback. I like all the comments, the people interacting. That's what we were hoping for. Was that
community over there?
Yeah. You become part of that. You comment. We're going to see it, and I think it's been
that
pretty
means
awesome.
You'll be commenting more, Cold Coffee.
Huh?
So that means
well, they're asking you stuff.
No, sir. I think they want to hear from you. As
no,
well.
it's fine. I chime in when I can. I chime in when I can. when I can turn off the Xbox, I'll come chime in.
In between that and the wanking, you've got a full schedule.
Oh man! All right. Well, listen.
That's my private time.
I will never do that for commerce.
Can you tell how bad we needed to talk to other people? It is so clear at this point. And
It's
we'll
been a while
just
since I sanitized somebody else besides John.
thank you for putting up with us. Thank you for listening.